Hey, hi. I'm Mona. This is Chit Chat. Okay, we're going to talk about something that happened today. Um, I got up this morning. I made my coffee. We went for a walk. We did whatever. Made them some breakfast. Um, I'm just giving them a little bit for breakfast because it doesn't seem like they're too hungry in the morning time right now. And then they kind of go and eat when they feel like it. So it's okay. Um, Anyways, I don't know why I started with that. Oh, yeah, because I was telling about what we did this morning. So I know that today's going to be a busy day. So when my coffee was cooking, for some reason, I felt guided, right? I felt guided to go to the Bible, right? And for some reason, I chose the one that's on this phone, which is the Jewish Classic Bible, right? And I was looking through like the books, and for some reason, I was like, I asked God, all right, don't think I'm weird, all right, it just is, okay? Let's not get crazy, all right? And I was like, what do you want me to look at right here? And I was looking through things, and then I saw Acts, and I was like, So I pressed on it. And then there was a chapter highlighted. I never pressed that. I never touched that. And it was Acts 19. And I was like, what's this? Because I never pressed that. But it was there. I wonder if it's still there. I might have highlighted something in there. Let me check. Is it still there? Oh, it's still there. Acts, okay. I let it play until Acts 21 because you know why? I pressed on it, but I had things to do and I noticed, oh, it has a little speaker thing there. It has a creepy voice. I didn't like it, but I listened to it anyways. And I was listening and whatever, was going on in there, right? Because Paul wrote of accounts of what happened, right? And so I was thinking, I was like, accounts. Okay, well, I highlighted I did highlight something. I thought I was imagining, but I did. So I was like, So I highlighted Acts 20:24, right? Why did I highlight that? But these things don't count, nor do I hold my life dear to myself, so that I may finish my race with joy and the ministry which I have received from the Lord Yeshua, because, Yeshua's, they consider this, the Jesus Christ. Same thing, I don't know, Jesus, to fully testify to the good news of the grace of God. So I was like, what? And then look at 25, Acts 20:25. Now, behold, I know that you all among men I went at. Let me try to start that again. Now, behold, I know that you all, among whom I went about proclaiming God's kingdom, will see my face no more. And that's what got me thinking. Therefore, 26, therefore I testify to you today that I am clean from the blood of all men. For I did shrink from declaring to you the whole counsel of God. Take heed, this is 28, take heed therefore to yourselves and to the flock in which the Holy Spirit has made you overseers to shepherd the assembly of the Lord and God, which he purchased with his own blood. So right there, okay, 29. For I know that after my departure, vicious wolves will enter in among you, not sparing the flock. Okay, so this is how I'm taking that. So so Jesus knows that he's going to die, and he knows that after he dies, there's going to be people that are going to go against his word, right? Okay, he knows that people are going to mix up his words. He knew that people were going to try to like instill fear with some of these stories, right? He knew that already. Okay, I want to give you an example of something. Just think about this. When you go to school, you learn from a teacher, right? A teacher may teach you something. You do a book report on it, and you get an A because you listened, you followed instructions, you did what the teacher told you, and then you finished your story. At the end of your story, you don't write in the name of Mr. or Mrs. Teacher, I write these words. You don't say that. You just end it there. You did your report, you did the best you could do, and you ended it. You didn't claim, the teacher at the end. The teacher already knows they taught you and you did the right thing. You don't need to say, in the name of the teacher, I write this report. No, you do what you're taught, and that's it, and that's all. Give that a thought right there. So after all this, I came up with that. I was like, yeah, you know what? I've had a lot of good teachers. And I have never been like, oh, I learned this in the name of Mr. So-and-so who taught me microbiology. I learned this no. I know I went to the school and I know I learned, and that was it, and that was all. I kept my knowledge and whatever, and that's it. You know what I mean? Just think about that. So after that, I was like, And then I was thinking, you know what? I want to hear what Jesus has to say, what somebody heard about Jesus is saying. Because, like a lot of those red words, they're accounts from other people's stories. So, and that's what I figured out. Like yes, they're in red, and other people said he said this, but they're accounts, right? And people can confuse words. They really, really can. And in those times, that was the word I was looking for the other day. So basically, somebody is writing by on the thing. So basically, I was thinking, and I was like, you know what? I want to see what Jesus has to say. So then I was like, all right. And I was looking at the book of John, right? Because that's where the red words are. Because supposedly that's what Jesus said, but they are accounts from what people saw, and things can get mixed up. So I was like, oh, well, it's long. And I was still making breakfast, still preparing their things and doing things around here. And I was like, I wonder if I can go on YouTube and find something that just talks about it or reads from it. And I found it. And so I turned it on and I started doing my things and listening. And I was just shocked, like happy shocks, like, wow. And so I was like, even in those accounts that people are talking about, the truth is right there. The truth is so obvious, but, if you put aside all these things like, oh, he did this miracle and he did that miracle, if you put that aside and you think about it like logically, he says right there, like, yeah, he says stuff right there. And I was shocked at the wording, talking about the light within and all that stuff. We all have and maybe that's where love and light comes from. Aha, love and light. The light we have within us, the God light, right? Yeah. And so I was listening, and there are just metaphors all through the whole thing. Metaphors that people don't understand. Even that one part when the guy was blind and Jesus put mud on his eyes and cleaned the mud off with the water. That is a metaphor for someone who was blind and somebody came and told them something and washed the mud away from their eyes so they could finally see, because the mud was blocking their vision from seeing the truth, right? These are metaphors that people are taking to heart like weird, like, no. You know what? Jesus was a teacher, man. He was a teacher. He was someone who was teaching someone something, teaching people that you must believe in God. Because, like, in those times, people were like believing in like the Pharisees and this person that Moses said and this and that, just different things, but they were people, right? Those people were not saying like believe in God, or not that I noticed, not that I later, yeah, they see this, right? But like in the time before Jesus, people were believing in other men, right? And so it was like, I don't know why I did that, cover the ears. So I was like, oh, you know what? And then I finished the food and I sat down, and it was like only 30 minutes that went by. I still had like 2 hours or something to go, but I'm still waiting anyway. So I put my food down, and I felt like something. I felt good because I felt like I discovered something. I made a discovery. I was so grateful, like, because I made mixed some eggs and vegetables and some tortillas. I was so happy how I felt with what I was discovering and understanding here for myself, just for myself, you guys. I was so grateful. Like every little taco, I was like, thank you for this taco, and I ate it. My breakfast taco. And then when I made another one, I was like, thank you for this taco. I was just happy. It was weird. It was a weird gratefulness I had, it was like, so then I was like, and then I kind of looked over at it, and then I couldn't stop reading along with the guy talking. It was a man, and then they had girl voices for girl voices and this voice for that voice. But I was reading along, and you know what? This is why you must read this on your own. Because as I was reading, I was like, they were switching up the words and slipping in words. They were omitting words and slipping in words. And I was like, wait a minute, it doesn't say that right there. And it's showing right on the screen. And I was like, wait, you just said, and you didn't, or you skipped this word. How come they didn't? So it was deception. So even these videos, these religious videos you watch, and they're allowing you to read along with them, make sure you stay reading, because you will find they omit words and they add words. That is deception. Why would you omit words? And why would you not say what is said right there? Because it's deception. This is like when you go to the church. I'm sorry for anybody out there if you hate me for this, but God doesn't want you to hate anyone who believes in God, right? Just even Jesus doesn't want you to hate anyone that believes in God, because that's what he was trying to say. He wants you to believe in God. He was the teacher. We are all God's children. We are all able to be like God, right? Be like Jesus to the people, right? Right. So that's what someone told me. I'm throwing the words back in his face. Anyways, so that's, yeah, they are so deceptive. Then when you go to the sermons, they will read to you and they will explain their interpretation. No, go to the Bible, read it yourself, and read your interpretation. Jesus even said in there, when I go, I'll be gone, and you won't see me again. He says it. Ooh, that's my alarm that I got to get ready to take Brian. Let's see what's going on here. There we go. I have some minutes. And so I was like, oh, shoot. So, all these things, these miracles are metaphors for what he's saying. Even about eating the flesh and drinking the blood, he's talking about he will feed you his knowledge. He's not telling you to eat him or anything. He wants you to quench your thirst with the knowledge he has. That's what he's talking about, because he's a teacher. He's teaching you something. He's teaching you that we all have this light inside us, right? And if we believe his words, which are believe in God and be a good person and do all this good stuff, you understood the message. But if you are like, Jesus is a child of God, right? He wants you to believe him, right? He even died because of his faith, because he's like, I believe so much in what I'm saying, I will die to show you. And he made that sacrifice, right? But his main message was to believe in God. That was the main message. And all these other weird accounts, they're metaphors for things that he said, right? Because look, in this day and age, if somebody did those miracles, it would be considered a magic trick, right? Yeah. It would be considered, oh, that's a demonic thing. Yeah. So, and people, they claim to have seen him, and that's another thing. From different book to different book, at the end they omit complete things and they add in things that I haven't seen. So I'm gonna have to go back and look at those. That's at the end of the John chapters, right? I'm gonna have to check that out, because I already know that in some of the books, and I make comparisons, that they do omit a lot of things in this book, but they have it in this book and then they don't have it here, or they reword it here. It's deception. You must read it yourself, and you must compare with other Bibles, because you're going to see the deception. And that's what I believe. Like, Jesus was the teacher, right? Trying to teach you that all of us are God's children. We all must be good. We all must ask for forgiveness. We all must forgive. Be like Jesus to the people, right? That's what I'm telling you. Like, me going to that one church, he woke me up to some truth. And I was like, oh, I just didn't want to tell him because he would probably be against it. But yeah, thanks, buddy. So that's what I wanted to talk about real quick, the churchy stuff. I think if you're curious, just for your own, I think you should read the book of John, because yes, even there you will find the truth of what Jesus is trying to say. Yeah, he was a teacher. He was a good guy. He suffered, or he what is it, the word I'm looking for? He sacrificed himself for what he believed in. I'm just saying, do your own homework. This is what I found for myself. Don't believe me. Go there and check for yourself, right? Bring up one of these things and follow it word for word, and you'll see that they omit stuff or they add stuff in. It's so sad. It's so mean and so nasty. And that's not what Jesus was saying. Jesus wasn't wanting people to switch up his words, but they do, and they will, and they always will, and they will always interpret it the way they want you to interpret it. That's why it's so important that you read the Bible on your own. Yeah. So that's all I have for you guys today. This was Chit Chat. I'm Mona, and I'll talk to you next time.